What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV. Don't forget, before we get into the video, keep subscribing to the channel, keep supporting, hit that thumbs up button for the like, and keep commenting. I love all the interaction. I try and respond to every comment if possible. So the video today is how good is Arsenal's squad? With the manager changing in recent days, a lot of people have said that we have a good squad. We just need a better manager. I have doubts about that. I do think a better manager improves this team, improves this squad, but I'm not sure our squad is as good as some people think. So I wanted to briefly run down most of the players and just have a look at what we really think of each player. So we start with the goalkeeping position. Bernd Leno, for me, is a very, very good goalkeeper. I'm now looking at it thinking he's top 3 or 4 in the Premier League. You would have to look at Alisson, De Gea, Ederson and Leno. I would say those 4 are probably the best 4 in the league. And I think Leno's shot stopping is fantastic. It would help him massively if he had a better defence in front of him. So Leno, in my opinion, we're fine in that sense. Martinez as backup is okay. We move to defence. Defence has been a problem area for Arsenal for probably 10 or 15 years. That's no exaggeration. I don't think since the Invincibles we've had a great defence. We've had times where our defence was okay. Mertesacker and Koscielny had a decent partnership for a little bit, although I didn't think Mertesacker was good enough. We had Koscielny and Vermaelen at one stage. You know, there's been times where we've been okay, but it's never been good enough collectively. Now, we start with Hector Bellerin, who seems to be struggling to come back since the injury. And I'm not sure how good Bellerin actually is. He's an athlete, he's very quick. I think defensively he's average. And going forward, certainly not good enough. I mean, I go to a lot of the home games especially, and the amount of times he gets in good positions to cross the ball, and the cross just isn't good enough. When you look at people like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, the amount of damage they do from fullback, it makes me question whether Bellerin is good enough at the moment. Of course, we haven't got a real right back behind Bellerin. We've played Maitland-Niles there, who struggled, and Callum Chambers goes there sometimes, who seems to me more of a centre-back. So I think right back is a problem. I think we should definitely sign a right back to challenge Hector Bellerin. We go to centre-back. Genuinely, in my opinion, I don't rate any of the centre-backs at Arsenal highly. I think Mustafi is probably the worst. I don't rate him at all. Socrates, I think, is past his best. And David Luiz is past his best. Although Socrates is aggressive and David Luiz is good on the ball. Holding, people talk about him like he's, the saviour of the club. I think he's decent on the ball. I think he's an average defender. And Chambers, I think, is an average defender as well. Puts the effort in, but I'm not sure he's good enough. And then you go to left back. I think Tierney will turn out to be a good left back. Certainly going forward, I've seen enough. Defensively, we'll see him tested more in the coming weeks when he plays against right wingers like Salah and Bernardo Silva. Kolasinac backup, not a great player either. So defence overall, we could do with, Saliba's coming in the summer, but I think we need another commanding centre-back to come and play next to him, a leader. Somebody like Koulibaly, although I think it's probably too late to sign him now. He's nearly 30 and apparently Napoli were asking for about £90 million to get him. We go into the midfield. I think it's probably our worst and most unbalanced midfield we've had in years. I think last year a lot of our good run of form was down to the Xhaka and Torreira pivot. Individually, I'm not a big fan, especially of Xhaka. But together they did have a good partnership, and you need to build partnerships to have a successful football team. And at the moment, we do not have any solid base in our midfield. You think of the Coquelin-Cazorla partnership and how good those two were together. Vieira Petit, Vieira and Gilberto. This is how you create quality teams, and the midfield is so important. Xhaka, I think, is somebody that we will move on. Although I saw an interview the other day, I think it was Paul Merson was saying that Xhaka is our only natural centre midfielder at the club, which he's got a little bit of a point. The others kind of float here and there, but he kind of stays in that position. Whether he's good enough is a different story. Torreira is quite highly rated at the club. I think he's okay. I don't think he's as good as maybe people go on about. I think to be that small in the CDM role in the Premier League is very difficult. I think you have to be exceptional to play that role. Kante's a bit of a 1 in a million in that role, and I think Torreira needs to build next to somebody to have a real strong defensive structure. Where you look at the best CDMs in the Premier League, people like Fabinho, Fernandinho, they can sort of play that defensive role by themselves because they've got the physical presence as well as the quality. So Torreira, he's decent, but I could happily see him upgraded. Dani Ceballos, he had that great game against Burnley, and people got carried away, started calling him Cazorla and Fabregas. Since then, he struggled. He needs to use the second half of the season to really prove whether he's good enough. He's got the talent, but whether he can deal with the Premier League on a consistent basis is a different matter. Joe Willock, very good energy, good young player. I do wonder how good he is on the ball. I don't really know what his best role is. Against Norwich the other day, he made some good runs, similar to like what Aaron Ramsey used to make. So maybe he should be the attacking midfielder. I think Willock's got work to do if he's going to have a successful career at Arsenal. There's definitely talent there, but it's going to take work. Mesut Ozil, the fan base love Ozil, and I see why to a certain extent, but I think we have to start being realistic and saying that Ozil is way past his best. And I don't think he's got a lot to offer Arsenal at the moment. Let's be honest, Liverpool had one of the best number 10s, or sort of playing that number 10 role in Europe, in Philippe Coutinho. He was outstanding. At that stage, probably their best player. That's why Barcelona paid, I think, 130 million to buy it. But Jurgen Klopp recognised that for Liverpool to be able to do what he wants, he may have to sacrifice the number 10 to have 3 hard-working, industrious midfielders. And I think number 10s are going out of fashion. I think to have a number 10, the 2 behind have to be real, hard-working, quality players. We don't have that. How can we carry Mesut Ozil? The odd pre-assist here and there. He doesn't score enough goals. He doesn't assist enough goals. He doesn't work hard. He's very lightweight. He's not very good at shooting from distance. And I think Mesut Ozil needs to be moved on. I think we need to use that £350,000 a week in a more, wise manner. The thing is, you're going to struggle to get him off the books. Who would take a 31-year-old Mesut Ozil on 350? So we could quite easily be stuck with him till the end of his contract. Looking around, Guendouzi, I worry about Guendouzi. I see a talented young player. I see a very individual player. I don't think he's great collectively in that midfield. He doesn't hold his position. He switches off defensively. A lot of the time he's running around playing his own game. He is talented, but I think us building our midfield around him is dangerous. But we need to improve the quality so that he can maybe take a step back a bit and not play every week. So that's the midfield. I think our midfield is completely unbalanced. I think we need a top quality defensive midfielder, a real powerhouse who can come in and break up play much better. I also think we lack the ball player. Whether Ceballos can become that player is a different matter. But if he doesn't, I think we need to look elsewhere. We then go into the front line. This is so interesting because we've got firepower. In Aubameyang, I would say we've got one of the top probably 3 or 4 strikers in the Premier League. I would look at Aguero, Kane, Aubameyang as the top 3. Probably Firmino as well in sort of the false 9 role. So I think Aubameyang is brilliant. Lacazette is a player I rate very highly. All-round game is superb. For me, he just doesn't score enough goals. I think he falls 7-8 league goals a season short of where he could finish. People will say, he doesn't play as an out-and-out striker. He plays more like a false 9. But is that because when he plays as an out-and-out number 9, he struggles? I saw a stat the other day that I think he scored 7 away goals in 2.5 years at Arsenal. That's not good enough away from home. So he's struggling. And I think the word is, people sort of saying, I think to be successful nowadays, the current thing is you have to have 2 wingers and 1 striker. And that would indicate that we maybe would have to play Martinelli and Pepe out wide with Aubameyang through the middle, because when you put Aubameyang out wide, you're effectively taking 20 or 30% away from his game. And Aubameyang is a better central striker than Lacazette. He's proved this with the amount of goals he scores. So although we would love to have Lacazette and Aubameyang in the team, How do you fit them both in? My only other suggestion, can Lacazette play in the Mesut Ozil role behind Aubameyang with two wide players? But then the two midfielders are under a lot of pressure because they won't get the help probably from Lacazette. So it's interesting. We've got a lot of quality. Aubameyang's brilliant. Lacazette's good, but I think we need to adjust how we're using him. Martinelli, for me, is a real talent who we need to start using more. And Pepe is like a puzzle at the moment. We have to figure out how to get more out of him. And I tell you one thing, we have to play him, first of all. That's the only way you can improve his confidence. As everyone keeps saying, we need to push him 10 or 15 yards higher up the pitch, allow him to play the way Salah, Bernardo Silva play in that role. They're right forwards, they're pressed against the fullback, they're not in their own half with their back to goal. If we can do that, and I saw things in Freddie's, the way he set us up against Norwich, that tell me we are going to become a better attacking team. It's going to take time. And as I said, I don't think Freddie is the long-term solution. But while he's in charge, he's got an opportunity to earn himself the job. So our attack's fine, but we need to figure out the balance and get that right. And I think if we can get that right, we'll be a much better team. As I've said in many other interviews and videos, I think we need to build around the attack. We don't have a great defence and a great midfield. So we have to play on the front foot. We have to almost say we're going to outscore teams. And it's going to be interesting how we do find that balance over the coming weeks. And also whether we invest in the January window. I don't see Arsenal buying more than maybe one player in that window. I think we could do with a right back. I think we could do with a centre back. And I think we could do with a central defensive midfielder. So I think at least one of those three positions needs addressing in the window. Well, I've covered a lot there. Overall, I think, the squad is probably not good enough. But if you get the team on the pitch in the right system with the right balance, I think the team has got enough to challenge for a top four place, although it's going to be hard to get in the top four this year, or maybe win the Europa League. Let me know what you think. It's been a long video, but I had to sort of break it down a little bit, and get into the breakdown of our whole squad and the lack of balance in certain areas. Let me know what you think, first of all. Which players do you rate? Which ones would you keep? Which ones would you sell? How should we set up? What formation? How do we fit Lacazette and Aubameyang in the team? Or is it time to play Martinelli, Aubameyang and Pepe as a front three? Let me know what you think. Smash that like button. Drop your comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, Curtis Shaw TV. Look out for the show on AFTV at the moment. It came out this morning, Talkies Cheap Show, featuring me and Laurie Lyle. Look out for more content to come. Bless.